Okay, but we have an important guest with us, one of the greatest players of all time, arguably the greatest player of all time, Garry Kasparov here with us on the show. Hi, Garry.
Hi, Garry.
Hi, yes, good afternoon.
Your first impressions of the 8 rounds of the Sinquefield Cup, Garry. Where have you been enjoying the action?
Yes, absolutely. Look, it's I always say that Grand Chess Tour was the best proof that classical chess was not dead. So we had, of course, quite of the games were not as exciting as we wanted, but it's understandable because players are tired. It's a long season, and obviously, the pandemics had an extra pressure on all of them. But so many games, great games being played. Yes, mistakes, but that's what makes games very exciting. And I think this Sinquefield Cup, was again really good demonstration that classical chess still attracts tremendous attention of the public. And again, I was quite happy to see there's so many fighting games and great fighting spirit of all the players.
Thank you, Garry. And Alejandro.
Garry, we have a special prize in this tournament. We have the Brilliancy prize. Now, we're the judges. We don't want you to tell us our opinion and pollute our minds. But tell us a story about a famous Brilliancy prize you've won. You must have many through the years.
You just said it, I had many through the years.
He's so many you can't even count them.
Yeah, that's quite tough because, I can, I'm not sure, whether tournaments had a special prizes. For instance, my game was Topolov. I'm not sure there was a special prize in Vachier-Lagrave.
That is a crime.
Yeah, that's the... actually, it was a one Brilliancy prize, I remember. That was a very good game. So there was not a clean, perfect game, but no games are perfect. Even with Topolov, so if he wouldn't have taken Rook on D4 and exchange queens, he would have probably slightly better endgame. So you always need the cooperation of your opponent. But I would recall a game from Manila Olympiad. Yes, sir, the last round.
Absolutely.
Was, actually, the penultimate round. It was my last game, but I didn't play in the last round.
In fact, you won the Brilliancy in the Olympiad in Manila. But the problem I think the judges had is you had 2 candidates for the Brilliancy, and they had to choose which one.
But Nikolic was really
Nikolic
good
was
game.
one.
Yeah, it was a really good game, good opening. So that's and then this is piece sacrifice. So out of the blue, yeah. So again, it's tough. You're testing my memory and just actually, it's not a testing my memory. It's I would say it's the opposite. So pleasant because now I'm just trying to recount all the games I played. So.
Nice. Of course, Garry, this is the final leg of the Grand Chess Tour 2021. It was a very difficult year for the organizers. The pandemic had so many challenges, but it was completed, it was fulfilled. 2022 has been announced. There are more tournaments. Tell us a little bit about the new event in Poland. It's very nice that we're expanding the competitions, and I'm very happy that we have a new sponsor from Warsaw.
It's not just a new sponsor because it was also be sponsored partially by the same sponsor who is behind the Bucharest and Zagreb, the Superbet company.
Okay.
But there are local sponsors, and I was recently in Poland just a few days ago. Had a great trip. I was in Warsaw and then traveled down to Ustron. It's a small town in the Katowice region, and met a new Polish sponsor from a company called Mokate. This is the largest seller of tea and coffee in Poland, and this is actually international business, great family business, and the man who runs it, it's a big chess fan. So he's joining now the group of other Polish sponsors. And it's sometimes things work in a concert. You say it's a coincidence, maybe it's chicken and egg, but you have a rise of chess popularity in Poland. You have Polish sponsors, and believe it or not, what a coincidence! young Krzysztof Duda is on the rise. So he just won the World Cup, beating, Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, and one of Magnus' former challengers, Sergei Karyakin. So in the semi and in the final of the World Cup, now qualifying for candidates. And again, that gave another boost both for chess fans in Poland and also for Polish sponsors. So now Duda, definitely will be part of Grand Chess Tour, and of course, they get an extra wild card in Warsaw. So I'm very optimistic, so that the event in Warsaw will not be just one-off. So we're looking for long-term setup in Eastern Europe. So between these three capitals, and again, it's I think great news. Great news for our sponsors in France, and of course for St. Louis, that now we have reliable partners in Europe that can offer us the expansion in the region that had long-term chess traditions. I mean, let's be honest. The traditions of chess in Eastern Europe, they were rich, and they went down history for at least 150 years. So the fact is that all these countries now are joining the Grand Chess Tour gives us a lot of confidence that our event is going to be a dominant chess network in the years to come.
Wonderful. And I just have to ask you, I don't believe you're in the United States, and I don't believe you're in Croatia, but you're in Greece?
Yeah, I'm in Greece.
What are you doing in Greece?
It's a traditional event that also, was canceled last year because of the pandemics. It's a conference organized by Stavros Niarchos Foundation. It's the summer conference here, Nostos Conference. And this year, the event is concentrating on AI and humanity. And I'm one of the speakers. Actually, tomorrow I'll be joining the panel. That's the last day of the conference. So, as you know, I'm very active on this field as well. So, and I'm in the room. Actually, I close the curtains, just to have sort of a better backdrop. Yeah. Otherwise, the night Athens behind me.
Well, Garry, that's so wonderful. First of all, thank you for all the work you do on the Grand Chess Tour. Much success in Greece. And, well, guys, if there's anything else you want to ask the founder of the Grand Chess Tour, now's the time.
By the way, what's happening today, Yasser? So we didn't talk about chess. Let's assume I know I don't play as well as I used to, but it's probably.
But I do have a question.
Giving comments.
I do have a question.
Yeah,
Garry, we're finishing up the tour here. This is the last day of play for the entire tour. Wesley So won. But besides Wesley, what impressed you, or who impressed you from the tour participants?
Look, it was very hectic year because, as I said, I think the players had so much to deal with, and again the event was interrupted by the COVID restrictions, and it's a great pity that Levon Aronian couldn't take part in the last leg of the tournament. Again, Wesley won because he proved to be the most stable and most reliable player. And by the way, it's not just in Grand Chess Tour. We look at this online events organized by Magnus Chess. So Wesley also did extremely well. Yes. So it's just it shows that everything is being paid for your hard work and for your devotion to the game of chess. And Wesley is that's today in this current environment, he proved to be the most resilient for all the challenges that was at the chessboard and around chessboard.
Garry, if I may, I don't know if you can see my board, but I definitely, first of all, hello.
I'm Maurice.
We don't get to see each other too often.
Now I can see your board.
You can see the board, and this is one of your good buddies, Peter Spindler, who did not play well in this event, but he looks like he's trying to win the Brilliancy Prize in this round, or shaping up to be in fine style. He's playing against Jeffrey Zhang. Jeffrey played an early G5. We've seen this happen often in this opening, but has he done it too early? As a Queen E2 and now C6, and given Peter this incredible D4, E takes D4, Bishop takes D4. This looks like something out of your style of play where you would be thinking, oh boy, I'm gonna have to kill this guy.
Look, the position that you showed me after move 6 or 7, was A6 and A4. we used to see it in the amateur chess, they move their pawns, h and a pawns. But now that's a serious chess because h6 g5 is one of the new modern plans, and I think again Peter responded with what he learned when he was a kid, So if something happens on the side, so just attack in the center. So I don't. But why are you thinking that it's so bad for black?
Well, first of all, I have an engine, so that kind of helps.
Okay, fine. That's.
But knight g6, my knight g6 plan is to castle and just blast. It looks like a natural.
Happened.
It just looks like. And did he castle?
Yeah,
I believe so.
He did. Knight g6 happened. Castles has happened. I feel like I'm studying The Test of Time by Garry Kasparov. I feel like I'm studying one of Garry Kasparov's best games with like the game collections where this kind of position, you see the two bishops, you see the knight, the rook. You just need to bring the other pieces into play, and it doesn't feel like black is properly poised to deal with everything that's coming. He's played the move queen to e7. It feels just like an attacking game in your style.
Okay, I don't want to say that attacking games are just my style. I guess only because there are many players that would probably call this mental as well. I just think that Peter did things that's quite natural. So though again, I don't have a luxury of looking at the engine. So again, this is optically doesn't seem to be so bad for black. So when I just look at this position, by the way, when the game is over, so okay, ask them how they evaluated the position, the players. Yes, without having access to an engine. Yeah, can you show me Peter's face? Or there's any chance I can look at Peter's face?
Only behind a mask, Gary. You're not going to be able to determine.
Okay, no, but still, I'm behind the mask, but it's just.
He looks like he's gearing
machine
up.
Recommendation? Because what's machine recommendation?
Knight f1 actually.
Knight f1. That's what I saw. Knight f1, and then Ganat goes on g3, and then move knight f5. So but it's I think it's just difficult for black to find the right to find the good location for the king. Yes.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine that Peter bringing his knight to g3, Gary. Well, it's very awkward for black's king. If he tries to go to the long side, a7 is hanging. If he tries to go short, things could work.
I still think the short might be the best choice, but it's just not. Doesn't look good. Yes, but I still think you have to go short.
So, for example, queen e7.
Maybe yeah, okay. Maybe now, maybe knight e5.
Knight e5.
Knight e5. But the problem is now f4 is a threat. Yes.
Exactly. So, bishop, anything like a bishop e6.
That's it. No, that's it.
Oh dear. There's an execution coming on the G file. Yeah, this is what the challenges that black is having in this game. Gary,
Peter played some good. I mean, it's obviously the age. Age plays a role, but he had some really good games in this one.
Yeah.
It was I mean, it was MVL. That was actually a very good game. He lost it by making one terrible mistake, 98, but it was, that he had at least two easy ways of making a draw. I mean, and it was a very high quality game.
Yeah. It's
not for the Brilliancy prize, but it was a good game. Both played with a lot of creativity. So I thought it was a great game. And it's a pity that he just, instead of king e8, he made this terrible blunder 98 and just, and then lost.
Exactly. Gary, I think it's a question that a lot of people who follow the Grand Chess Tour would like to ask. Could you give us any insight as to whether or not Magnus Carlsen might be in the next cycle?
It's Magnus' decision. So we invited him this year. He just decided that he had other things to do. He'll be invited again, of course, no doubt about it. And it's for him to decide. So we are not, we cannot force him to do the things.
Of course.
I think it was a great pity. He didn't take part in this Grand Chess Tour. So we'll see what happens, next year. But before next year, we'll see what happens in Dubai.
Yes.
Yeah, in his match against Nepo. So I'm quite confident we'll have Nepo joining us next year. So as one of the top players, or God knows, as a new world champion. So as for Magnus, whether he will be the world champion, and again, as you know, I think he's a favorite in the match, or he will be newly cooked ex-world champion. So it will be his decision to make.
All right, Garry. Well, thank you so much for joining us again. Any questions furthermore, Garry?
I'll see you in St. Louis, in 10 days, yeah?
Yeah,
10 days?
absolutely, absolutely. Have a good
Yes.
time in Greece. See you soon.
Take care, Garry.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you for joining us.